You are about to meet a bundle of joy. One of the most fun people to be around, one of the sweetest people I've met, and one of the most brilliant plein air and impressionistic painters that I know. Please meet Kathie Odom. Hey, Kathie.
Hello. Hello.
I would say Kathie's just a sweet little girl from Tennessee.
Oh, you've almost got that right. Your accent.
You're not from Tennessee, right? You are?
Yes, I am from
You
West
are in
Tennessee, West Tennessee, and moved to East Tennessee for school and met my fella. So
yeah.
We live in East Tennessee.
Hey, Kathie, what are you going to do today?
Well, I'm really excited about what I'm going to do today. I am going to take plein air paintings that I've been working on this year. And there are just a few that I have been looking at and studying, and I want to do a few touches on them. They're not quite finished in my mind, and I saw some problems. So I'm going to do that right here. I'm going to fix them and talk about how I go about that.
What a great idea, because, you know, we oftentimes do starts, but we very rarely do finishes. And as you and I were talking about before all of this, I'm struggling with a piece right now, trying to figure out what's wrong with it. I think I'm just going to put it away for a couple of months. And I was kind of struggling and rushing to get it done so I could get it to the gallery for Christmas. But it's like, nah, it's not done till it's done right. And
you're right. You're so right there.
So I'll be excited about watching you work. And it's been fun watching you work. I'll show everybody some of your work just so they can get a feel for it. Just, you know, you do a lot of barns and country subjects, but a lot of other things as well. And it's just so fresh and loose and wonderful. And just love watching you do it and watching you. And interestingly enough, when we did your video and I watched, it was interesting to see how you carve things out. It's a whole lot different approach than what I was trained to. This is a video that Kathie has done with us. It's called Bold Brushwork. It's a big seller. And so, Kathie, we're looking forward to it.
Oh, can't wait.
By the way, Kathie, I love that painting so much right now. You can just go ahead and ship it. It's fine. I'm perfectly ready. I'll even provide the frame. It looks like it's about a 16 by 20.
This is a little bit longer than that. I think it's 12 by 20. 12 by 20.
All right. Well,
golden ratio.
That's fine. I'll make a frame. Okay. So, well, I know you want to show everybody how you're going to finish paintings, and so I'm just going to drop off and get out of the way.
Great. This painting was one of the first paintings that I did out in plein air after the leaves had changed here in Tennessee, and I'm really pleased with the painting. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I got it back in the studio, and there's just one mark that is really messing with my head.
We can't even see it because it's kind of the top of the camera.
It's probably in a little bit.
Bring your easel down. There we go. All right, one mark that's driving you nuts.
Right here. It's transparent, which I love to keep some transparency in my oils. But that one right there is just drawing my eye to it. So what I do when I bring them back in the studio and there's just something to be done is I will take Galcid Light.
What is Galcid Light? Explain that to people.
Galcid Light is a medium made by Gamblin. And if you take a half of it and mix it with half of your Gamsol, it makes a wonderful retouch varnish. That there are some retouch varnishes out there that are just a little too strong for me. And I spent years both finishing walls. That was one of my other jobs in life. And I'm just love the products that we have now. The fact that they're not that strong, and I can be in my studio and feel comfortable about it.
Obviously, that's dry.
It is a completely dry plein air painting. Now, you couldn't do this if it was within a week of doing the painting, but in that this has been a few weeks, the painting is completely dry. It even has my signature.
Oh, you
And
signed it when you had something wrong with it. Well, one thing I think everybody needs to understand, if they don't know this, is that your colors will sink in. And I'm in the middle of painting something right now, and it's very hard for me to see what it's really going to look like once it's varnished, because some of my colors have sunk in. So to be able to do a retouch varnish on it, it will show you a little bit more what it'll look like once you actually varnish it, where your colors haven't sunk.
yes, I love the fact that it brings the painting back to life.
Yeah.
You know, all that dullness is gone. And
Are you
I'm
saying my
taking,
paintings are dull?
no,
Oh.
they get dull after they dry a
All
little
right.
bit
Okay. Just
before varnishing.
I'll let that one escape this time.
I was really talking about mine.
No, there's nothing
But
dull about your paintings.
here we
The,
are.
the world famous painter George Van Hook just made a comment about how fabulous your work is.
Oh, oh, oh my goodness. I don't know if I can go on. That's
He said,
awesome.
Kathie, you're spectacular.
Oh, well, I love his work, and that is a great compliment. As you can see, I took a old cotton t-shirt and just buffed it. So now the surface is ready for me. It's like being in the middle of my wet paint, and I'll feel comfortable. The brush will move well, and the paint should go on pretty good too. And I did pre-mix a little bit, just because of our time constraints. I normally mix as I go, but I'm just gonna interrupt that one streak
So it's not going all the way up.
that that was bothering me. Yes, it was just a weird place for that diagonal to be, as far as I was concerned.
Kathie, tell people why you hold your brush the way you do.
Oh, it is just, I can make more painterly marks. I'm freer. I'm not noodling things, as we talk about. It's just a freer way of moving the paint around, and I can get things that aren't so manufactured looking, I
Yeah,
guess.
rendered.
Yeah. Just kind of taking a few of those trunks and putting some foliage in front. But actually, that's it for this painting.
Oh, well, that was quick.
That one mark. I have another one. So
Oh, good. I'll bet you have a couple around there, huh?
I need a lot more. So just to talk a little bit about why the signature was there. I am, it may be really breaking the rules. I don't.
There are no rules.
I don't, I will sign a piece when I know I'm close.
Yeah.
And it's just to tell me that, girl, you're about finished. Don't overdo this. And so anything that I paint on a painting after I've signed it, I'm very thoughtful, very calculated, don't want to do too much. So that's my reasoning. Now this one
Well,
is
the problem is if you die and then you don't finish it, you're going to have an unfinished painting out there with your signature on it. Everybody's going to think it's done.
Well,
so don't die.
I'm planning on sticking around for a little bit longer.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, this painting, this actually was a 2-day plein air, because the timing of the day was about 3 p.m. And the shadows on the mountains were just really dramatic, which let these buildings really shine. And so I painted from 3 to 5. The sun starts to go down here about 5 to 5:30. So came back exactly at the same time the next day, got this far. And basically, this has been a real teaching painting to me, because the leaves changing, is really traumatic for me. I've been painting a lot of green all summer long, and then here shows up all this wonderful color. And I would say the color was mainly up on the mountain and in this area here in front of the barn. I think that was a tulip poplar tree, but I just loved the color and how it was sporadic and that there was still a lot of green, which made that color really pop. But getting carried away with trying to figure all this out. In fact, I may go back and just cool this down even a little bit more. But I'm not going to do that today. What I'm going to do today is this area right here had a lot of foliage in front of the barn. He's not using this barn anymore. The owner actually has a business in front of it and let me set up in the backyard so I could paint this painting.
Well, I'll tell you, that really blows the romance of that, knowing you're standing in the back of his business. But I mean, it's because it's like I look at that and I say, I want to be there.
Oh, well, there's Tennessee, for you in a lot of ways. I have already done my retouch varnish on this one, so I'm ready to go.
All right.
And I have my image up on my monitor that y'all aren't able to see, but
do I have that image?
I don't know. Yes,
I do.
You might.
Well, all right. It's that. Everybody take a quick look at it. I'm not going to leave it up there. All right. Now, Buddy, are you operating the camera back there?
Sure, why not?
Yes, he is.
Since she's kind of working in a fine area, can you get a little closer to that?
Sure, we'll work on it.
All right. I know it's difficult with phones and webcams and all that stuff. Oh yeah, that helps so much.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you. Now, Kathie is probably squeezed in between the camera, but
that's okay. I'm over to the side. I can get to it.
All right.
My only worry is kicking it.
Well, don't kick it.
We're not going to do that today.
Don't kick it. So many compliments about Kathie in the comments section.
Buddy's reading some of the comments. This is a Hughes easel. It was a gift.
Hughes.
Yes, this year. And
congratulations. That's
yes.
That's the Rolls Royce.
I am. It intimidated me for about a month, and then I've gotten to where I don't think about it anymore. But the foliage is I want to keep some of that transparency here. Because I was plein air, I could see this. You can't really see it on the photograph. So I just love my plein air painting, and the fact that I get outside, I actually see what's going on out there. And because it gives me all these little nuances that you don't see in a photograph.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of my little pail. There's a pail bucket right there, and it was in the perfect spot for the focal point, which I believe is really this area of the painting.
Yep.
And that just brings, I think, your eye in. You wonder what it is. Now I'm thinking about spreading the love a little bit. Now, the beauty of working on this when it's dry, and the fact that it's got the Retouch Varnish, I can take my little tool. It's a makeup applicator that's a lot like a Q-tip. And anything that I am doing to the painting now that I think, no, it was better before. Don't, Kathie, don't mess with it that much. I can take things off with my Gamsol field applicator. And actually, I thought there would be a lot more detail that I would be putting in, but as I look at it, the simplification, there is a lot going on in this painting. I love the fact that these buildings give a depth where it goes back. It's painted loosely so that this part can be painted a little bit more. And that may be all I want to do to this one. But I have another one that I want to pull out. I do like taking something brighter and going almost right there in front of that deep opening to the barn. It just lends itself to a great pop and something that really draws you in. Now this is kind of unusual for me, but I've brought out the tiny brush, which is not always good, but I love what that just did. It was kind of like a icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Um,
So if you were going to work on those mountains in the background, you said you were thinking about doing something different with those. What would you be doing?
What I'm going to try is a glaze.
Okay, so you might explain what a glaze is, because there are some people who don't know what that means.
Okay. And I didn't for a long time and wondered why I didn't know about glazes. And I guess that's the fact that I hadn't been formally trained, because glazes are a beautiful technique and thing. When you want, the best example I know to talk about is I had done a painting of a old monastery where, they have the round doorways, the oval round doorways, and I just had not gotten them dark enough, but I loved the detail. And the detail I had painted in those openings, but it just wasn't dark enough. So I took Galcid Light, a medium. I mixed in my transparent red oxide with a little bit of ultramarine blue, which is this color right in here on this painting. Mixed it with that medium and got it almost washy looking, although with all that medium in it, it was very oily. So I just painted those arcs, like if I were to go in here and paint this little area right here, but it was an arc, and painted it with that glaze. I could still see all the detail I had painted behind it, but it just gave it that shadow look that made that painting. It fixed that painting. And with this one, I'm going to see if I can take a little bit of this Retouch Varnish. I've got my Galcid Light here. And
I think that's good. I think we'd like to see this.
I'm going to experiment this.
Okay.
Now, don't say I'm not brave.
Yeah, well, you are brave. I was just about to say how brave you are.
Here we go.
I think that's an important point, though, Kathie, because, you can try something and completely ruin a painting. At the same time, can you really? I mean, you can always repaint it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At this point, because this is dry, I could absolutely wipe it off. If I'm not happy with what I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm mixing ultramarine blue, a little bit of Viridian, a little white, a little transparent red oxide.
All right.
And
So is it opaque or is it?
This is a little more opaque,
Uh-huh.
but I have a lot of that. I'm even going to finger paint.
You don't want that stuff on your fingers.
Oh, I know. I live dangerously.
It will fill your liver with bad things.
Don't do what I do.
Don't do what Kathie does. I wear gloves for that very reason.
Well, I've really been thinking about that a lot.
Well, the reason I say that is I had a mentor, and I always used to give him grief about not wearing gloves, and he would paint with his fingers all the time. And then he ended up with 250 tumors in his liver.
Oh gosh.
It was not a good day.
No, you may have just talked to me into it.
It may have had nothing to do with paint. I can't scientifically say it did.
Yeah.
So I don't want to. I just think err on the side of caution.
Yes. I'm pulling out a little bit of indigo blue.
Holy smokes.
And I'm going to really mix in the galcid and see what happens with that.
So you're not glazing the whole area. You're just doing spots of it.
Exactly. And now people will glaze the whole thing.
Yeah.
But there was just a harshness about this, what I had.
Yeah. So you've really kind of lightened it up.
Yeah. I'm going to have to stand back after we're off. But it's doing it. It's doing what I want it to. The light was really hitting the tops.
Well, the other thing that we all have to deal with is that we have to ask ourselves, where do we really want the eye to go? And, by glazing those mountains back a little bit, you're not making them stand out quite as much. And you're really forcing the eye to go to the foreground, which is where all the sweet action is.
In fact, even putting it over that color is melting it in a good way.
I'm melting.
I may come back, make this tree line a little stronger. But hey, we got brave and I did it.
Hey, I love it.
And we've got something going on here that I'm happier with. But that definitely is coming forward more as I stand back and look at it a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So, okay, let's move to a new one.
All right, next. So if you just tuned in, Kathie Odom is showing us how she takes some paintings that she's done and adds a finish to them just to get them ready to be out the door. Something we haven't done before. Ooh, that's luscious.
Now, this is also a point I wanted to make that's a little different than what we're doing. And I'm going to talk about it real quick I worked on this one. This was a plein air piece at a park nearby. And I worked and I worked and I worked on this painting. You get there in the morning, you may not have painted in the last couple of days. I just got really caught up in the detail of a lot of things and trying to really capture it. I've got a brush here right there. And so painted it till about 1:30. Then I turned my easel right in the same spot, but 180 degrees. And then this was this was my afternoon painting.
Nice.
And I think this painting may have been 45 minutes. I was loose. I was feeling the place. I, knew the place better. I had really wanted to paint this when I got there, but decided that this would be more of a challenge to me because it was moody. The sun was not out. There was color. I'm always trying to figure out what I don't know. And so this was the morning painting, but then the afternoon came around, and this just, it was one of those that you say paints itself in a way.
Yeah.
You just are feeling it. And I love the rawness. I love the quick brush strokes. This was a great lesson for me, and I think it is for others. Don't give up on that first one that isn't going just right. Move, turn around, start a new one. You can always wipe off wet paint. So this one may need a few little touches, but I don't think so. I love the rawness of it. It'll probably stay as it is. But this one, I think the problem with it is the fact that it needs a little bit more value difference from the background to the edges of these trees that are closer to me. And that's been my thoughts. So that's what I was wanting to try to do here in my studio. I didn't know I was inviting hundreds of people to watch me, but here we go.
It's not hundreds. You don't need to worry. It's thousands.
Oh, goodness. I was afraid that was true.
And by the way, I'm going to scold everybody who is not putting where you're from in the comments section, because I can't see if I can't see where you're from. So put it in there. You guys are not paying attention. That's because Kathie is so good you don't want to stop watching.
Well, if you missed this part earlier, I'm doing a retouch varnish with half and half Gamsol and Galkid Light. And
you just pre-mix that and just kind of keep it around as you retouch varnish?
Yeah, well, yes, Galkid Light will dry fast on you. I usually feel better about mixing just a small amount, and I can show you what I did. Can you see that?
Why not just put in why not just wipe it down with some linseed oil or something?
Maybe you could. This just is what I was taught.
Okay. I just wondered, maybe it's too slippery.
Yeah, it could be. This is very, very light.
Yeah, that's important.
And already, gosh, this painting may have just needed varnish, but it's already feeling better.
Feels better already, doesn't it? That's a great lesson.
Yes. Don't try to fix something that is dried and dull when you can give it life again and then retouch it, because you may do too much.
And how long does it take for that to dry once you've put that retouch varnish on it?
I would say it'd be dry the next morning. And
then you varnish all your paintings?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Gamvar, and
yeah, that's great stuff.
But I'm never happy with it completely just right out of the jar. I mix the Gamvar gloss with the Gamvar satin, more gloss than satin, and it gives a little bit more of a soft feel rather than real light, real bright and shiny. I do like a little bit of dullness.
Well, that's a good idea. I never thought to do that.
That brightening up, the sun was over here and it was streaming in through here, and it was touching the edges of the leaves on this side of this tree, and then this was a glow. And I'm just going to see what just a little bit of, now with my yellows, they can be so strong. I will add a little bit of my mud pile to the yellows.
You might want to explain what the heck a mud pile is.
I need you, Eric. You're a great commentator. The mud is every color that I scrape off my palette at the end of a painting. I'll scrape all the piles, all the mess of my palette over to the corner, and then I mix it really good. And I know we are looking at my palette, but that is my mud
Basically gray.
right there. It is. Mine is usually warm,
Yeah.
really warm, because my paintings tend to be warmer. But I'm just taking this bright, and actually there's mud in that. And that may be a bit much. So I'll take my paper towel, and it's kind of blending. Still pretty strong. I think I need a little yellow ochre. Really making myself think organically, or like a tree. I think one of the mistakes that we all tend to make is we get that brush going and we don't stop. And we don't let it come off the brush in a way that's very kind of uncomfortable, because we can just start dabbing, and it just all look the same. And I really try to make a point to I like how that now has a lot of variety in it, going that lighter value right there just made that so much more interesting. I didn't paint all over what I had started with. I let some of it use the new, and all of it it just tends to all work together and then make it even more interesting.
Love the little touches.
And you have to just be real particular about where they are. Also, somebody had once explained to me that the fact that in the water reflections are going to be either clearer or more dull. If this is bright, this is going to be less bright in the reflections. So I will completely mix differently for this down here than I will for the tree that I'm really looking at. Now I'm going to have to, after you all are gone, get with this and look at it a little bit more strongly. But
looking pretty good to me. What do you do with your mud pile afterwards? You just leave it on your palette until it dries out, right?
Leave it on my palette. I'll take the dried skin part off of it, and and use it till it's gone. It'll get out of hand and there'll be too much of it. So I'll just get rid of it then. But I tell a lot of people might be able to see this a little better if
it's not glaring. Yeah.
tilt it in a little bit.
Yep. So we're down to our last 5 minutes, Kathie.
Yeah.
So you want to do another one?
Let's see. Have I got? Yes, I have. I have another example.
You could come over here and work on
Buddy.
mine, but I don't think we have time to get you
Yeah,
here.
that and the little one. This is just another situation where I was out plein air painting. This was the first painting of the day.
Ooh, lovely.
And, my full intention was to zoom in on this a little bit more, but I got carried away. The beauty of the whole scene had to be painted, evidently. And I do think that it was backlit. This barn was backlit, and it does need a brighter roof line, and I will do that after we get through probably. But
All
this
right,
was
well,
another example of it being painted in the morning, spending three hours, and then turning around and doing a really quick sketch,
nice.
zooming in on that same barn, and I can't wait to finish this one.
All right. Cool.
So it shows you may get your better painting the second go around. We'll see.
All right. Cool. So you're going to work on that one a little bit, or do we not have time?
Well, I will quickly do one mark with my palette knife to see if I'm right about something.
It helps.
I think that will give a little bit more of the feeling of it being backlit.
Yeah, if you had a little tiny dark against where that light edge is, it would
Yes.
pop.
Yeah. And it actually,
I guess I should direct movies too, huh?
it's actually there, but now that I've done that white, it's not strong enough. But let's give it a go.
That's not the edge I meant. I meant the other side of the white.
Oh, okay.
Ah. Who am I to tell you what to do? I'm sorry. I shouldn't do that.
That's okay. But that's making me happier. I will put my Retouch Varnish on this, and it won't take much, but I'll finish that one up.
You're such a good painter and such a good teacher.
Oh,
Well, we should probably
you.
put you back on camera now so we can say a proper goodbye.
Sounds
And
good.
because we're going to run out of time. Quickly, do a quick run around so we can see your studio.
Oh, okay, buddy.
Very
Can you
quickly.
do that? Go ahead. We have made a garage that used to be an ironworker's shop into my studio.
Nice.
So it's kind of a mess because I wasn't expecting this.
That's all right. Surprise.
But,
Mine's a mess too.
I have
I
my
like the tread-
exercise machine because I want to paint more. I want to live longer.
Oh yeah, I just bought an exercise machine too. So
Yeah.
me too. Same reasons.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Kathie, this has been delightful. You are such a delight to have around. You're such a great teacher, such a good painter, and such a good friend. And I really appreciate you and Buddy and all you do and how you get us all inspired. You're so good at what you do.
Thank you.
I should tell people that Kathie can be found at KathieOdom.com, right?
Yes.
And it's Kathie.
K and an I-E.
Kathie Odom.com. And also, if you're looking for her video, she probably has a link on her website, but She also
I
has
do.
it at it's at lilyartvideo.com, and it is right there, and it's a fabulous video. It's one of our favorites, and I know we're not allowed to have favorite kids, but if there were a favorite, yours would be one of them.
Thank you so much. That was a fun project.
You're very welcome, and thank you for doing this for us today. We'll have you back because we love having you around.
Eric, keep going. You're doing great things for us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.